Hi everyone. So today we'll be starting with the chapter of shedding. Generally, a short question comes in from this chapter. I'll be discussing all the topics that are necessary for your examination. Okay, so starting with the definition, it is the physiological process resulting in the elimination of deciduous dentation, and it is also called exfoliation. So, first understand why do we need shedding? Okay, why is this process important? So, this is the jaw of a child. Okay, and as we grow, our jaw expands according to our face size and our physique. Okay, this will expand. So, when we were kids, what would happen is so we have like these teeth distributed across our jaw, and we don't have any gaps in between them because our jaw is small, so we need only 10 teeth per jaw. So but as we grow, now our jaw has expanded. If there was no eruption or if there was no shedding or eruption of new teeth, what would happen is we would have gaps between our teeth, and this is not exactly very ideal for mastication. Okay, this will have a very bad mastication properties. We won't be able to chew or have our proper facial structure in place. So to avoid this from happening, what happens is we lose all our teeth, all our milk tooth, and then we replace them with slightly bigger teeth and more number of teeth. Okay, so this is why in the entire process of shedding and eruption is necessary. Now what is shedding? So it is a physiological process resulting in elimination of the deciduous dentation. So we lose our milk teeth, and it is also called exfoliation. Okay. Now before I jump into the chapter, I'll tell you how shedding takes place. Okay. So I'll just give you a brief overview. What happens is this is my deciduous teeth, and this is my permanent teeth. Okay, as the time of shedding comes, what happen is this teeth will start putting pressure on the deciduous teeth. Due to this pressure, some cells called odontoclasts, they will come in, and they will start resorbing the root of this teeth. Okay, so these cells will start resorbing the root. Okay, and slowly the entire root will be resorbed up till here, and then this teeth will fall off. Meanwhile, while this is happening, what will happen is this tooth, it would have moved upwards. Okay, and as this tooth falls off, your deciduous tooth falls off, this will fall off, and this will replace your deciduous teeth. Okay, so this is how the entire process of shedding takes place. Just a brief overview. Now we'll jump into the topics that are the headings of what's asked in your examination. So first is the pattern of shedding. Okay, how everything is placed and in which sequence everything, all your teeth fall off. So this is the pattern of shedding. Now we know that shedding happens because of the pressure generated by the erupting permanent tooth, and that erupting permanent tooth also dictates the pattern of deciduous tooth resorption. So this tooth, the permanent tooth lying in our jaw, this will decide that from where the resorption will start. Okay, so this will dictate the pattern of shedding. Now in anteriors what happens is resorption begins on the lingual surface and later shifts apically other than the mandibular incisor. Okay, so what happens is this is my deciduous tooth, and this is my permanent tooth. Now this is lying on the lingual side. The permanent tooth is lying on the lingual side towards your tongue, and this is the outer side. This is your buccal side towards the environment. Let's just imagine that. Okay, now this tooth will start putting a pressure. Your permanent tooth will start putting a pressure on your deciduous tooth, and this pressure will cause resorption of your deciduous tooth. Okay, so this tooth will start resorbing over here. Now as time passes, what will happen, this tooth will somehow shift this will somehow shift over here apically. So initially the resorption started lingually, but now this tooth has shifted apically, and it will continue resorption from here until the tooth falls off, and this will keep shifting upwards. Okay, so this will keep shifting upwards, and your previous tooth, the milk tooth, will fall off. Now what happens in the case of mandibular incisors? So this was the typical scenario for all the anteriors, but what happens in the mandibular incisors is that let's just go back, right? So this tooth was lying over here. Your let's just say this is a mandibular incisor, and this was lying over here. It will cause the resorption and everything, and the resorption will go on from this side. Okay, the resorption will take place from over here, but what will happen is this tooth will erupt slightly lingual to your previous tooth. Okay, so it will still resorb the entire previous tooth, the deciduous tooth, but this tooth will erupt lingual to the um, deciduous tooth, right? Now talking about the molars, what happens in molars? Resorption begins on the inner surface. Okay, so first remember how the tooth are, how the teeth is placed in your jaw. We have this primary molar, and remember the primary molars are replaced by the permanent premolars, right? Now this is a premolar that will be situated between the roots of your primary molar, right? Now this premolar is not completely, it has not completely developed yet, so it will start resorption over here. Okay, this premolar will start resorption on the inner surface, but right now when this is resorbing the inner surface of the tooth, right now the shedding time has not come. Okay, so this is resorbing the inner surface of the root way before the shedding starts. Now this resorbed surface, it is replaced by some cementum like material. I'll use a different color, distinct color. So this is replaced by some cementum like material over here. Okay, now when the time for shedding comes, this tooth, your premolar, it will resorb this entire surface again. Okay, it will resorb this entire surface, and this will allow the tooth to expand. Okay, so this tooth, it will expand slightly, not the entire thing, just the premolar. It will expand slightly, and then it will shift apically. Okay, so I don't think I can move it, but just imagine that this will shift slightly lower, not the whole thing. Okay, so it will be shifted slightly lower, just ignore the upper portion, and it will be situated apically to this tooth that was present over here, and then it will continue the resorption. So now this will move upwards and continue the resorption of this entire molar. So what happened first, that the inner surface was resorbed, then it was repaired, then it was repaired again, resorbed again, the tooth shifted apically, and then it resorbed the entire roots. Okay, so this is how the process, the pattern of shedding is in the molars. So just reading what's here, resorption begins on the inner surface long before the shedding starts. Okay, it starts between the roots. Later, as the jaw expands, the permanent premolars are shifted apically, and resorbed area is repaired by the cementum-like tissue. Okay, this provides enough space for the premolars to grow, and resorption later begins apically. So I told you all of that. That's just written in a formal way. Now moving on with the mechanism of shedding. Okay, so what causes shedding? What forces initiate shedding, right? So the shedding of deciduous tooth is a natural process involving root resorption and tooth loss. Two major factors drive this process. First is the pressure from permanent tooth. So we already discussed that the primary tooth, not the permanent tooth. Yeah. So permanent tooth, sorry. So we have this primary tooth, okay, or deciduous tooth, and we have this permanent tooth over here. This will apply pressure, and this will cause resorption of this entire area. So this is the first mechanism. Now second, what causes shedding is breaking down of the PDL. So we have these PDLs, periodontal ligament, keeping our deciduous tooth in place. Now with masticatory forces being applied, this will cause breakdown of these PDL ligaments. Okay, and this also causes the tooth to get out of the alveolar bone, lose its hold in the alveolar bone, and cause shedding. So these are the two major mechanisms that drive the process of shedding. Okay, now moving on with the histology of tooth shedding. So what how the cells play a part in the entire process. Okay, what cells actually are there? So uh, starting with the first part, that is the pressure from erupting permanent tooth exerts this pressure. What this causes is it causes the monocytes to differentiate into odontoclasts. So I have this tooth, I have my deciduous tooth, and I have this permanent tooth. Okay, this permanent tooth, it started putting pressure on the deciduous tooth. Now, as soon as this starts, I have these capillaries going around my tooth, and these capillaries have monocytes. Right. As soon as this process starts, these monocytes, they will be converted into odontoclasts. They will be differentiated into odontoclasts. Now, what are odontoclasts? They are the cells that will resorb root. Okay, these are the cells that will resorb dentine and cementum. So, as soon as the pressure is applied, the monocytes from the blood, the circulating monocytes, they will be differentiated into odontoclasts, and the root resorption will start. Now, how does the odontoclast activity start? So, odontoclasts attach to the root surface of the deciduous tooth. They have ruffled border which contains high number of mitochondria, vacuoles, and acid phosphates and mineral crystallites. So, the odontoclasts, they will come out of the circulation. They will attach to the root, okay, and they have ruffled border. So, if I zoom into my odontoclast, it will look like this. They have these ruffled border, and they secrete some enzyme called acid phosphatase. This enzyme will cause breakdown of your entire dentine and cementum. So remember, my dentine and cementum has two components. Okay, it has this organic matrix, and then it has mineral crystallites. We studied that. So this acid phosphatase, um, I'll use a green color. Okay, so this acid phosphatase, this enzyme, first it will dissolve all the minerals that are present, and then through phagocytosis, it will engulf all this organic matrix. Okay, so not like this. So it will start engulfing all the organic matrix and taking it away from here, right? So the whole thing is okay. So this is how the phagocytosis will start, and this is how the complete resorption of dentine and cementum will take place. So this is how the odontoclasts work. Okay, they come in, they secrete this enzyme called acid phosphatase. They break down the crystals, and they perform phagocytosis of the organic matrix, and they completely resorb the dentine and the cementum. And this is how the um, complete root resorption takes place. There is mention of this resorption lacunae. So imagine if this is my root, right? So from wherever the resorption will start, so let's just say that the resorption started over here. There will be this gap formed, okay, this circular thing, because everything over here is resorbed. This is called a resorption lacunae, and this is where you will find the odontoclasts, because they are resorbing everything from here. Okay, so now moving on uh, to the periodontal ligament. What role do they play? So the periodontal ligament, they undergo destruction due to the mechanical forces of mastication. We discussed that. And breakdown of the PDL reduces tooth attachment to the alveolar bone. So the PDL, it was holding the tooth into our alveolar bone. It was keeping the tooth attached to the alveolar bone. But now since the PDL is gone, since the PDL is lost over here, we lose attachment to the periodontal ligament. Okay. Now moving ahead to the bone remodeling. So this is the last portion that will happen. What happens is that the alveolar bone around the deciduous tooth also undergoes resorption. So until now we were talking about the resorption of dentine and cementum and the root. Okay, but remember that this alveolar bone, which is associated very close in very close proximity, which is situated in very close proximity to the tooth. Okay, so this also undergoes resorption. Okay, so there will be a gap created. Now this bone will lie over here, and this entire space will be resorbed, right? So the alveolar bone is also resorbed. and this allows permanent tooth to erupt into correct position. So wherever we want the permanent tooth to be erupted, right? In case of mandibular incisors, we saw that we had this, let's just say this is our jaw and this was our deciduous teeth, and we wanted our mandibular incisors to be erupted slightly lingual. Okay, so in this case, the alveolar bone over here, let's just say that this is the alveolar bone. In this case, the alveolar bone over here, this will be resorbed for to make way for the eruption of this permanent tooth. Okay, so the resorption of the alveolar bone is very necessary, very much necessary for the correct positioning of your teeth. Okay, now the last topic is clinical considerations, and this is very important. Sometimes this alone comes in as a short answer. Okay, and most people don't even know that from which topic this question is. Okay, so starting with the clinical consideration, the first one is remnant of deciduous tooth. So pretty self-explanatory. What happens is, if parts of root of deciduous teeth are not in the path of the erupting permanent teeth, it may escape resorption. They are generally found deep in the bone, surrounded by heavy layers of cellular cementum, and it is most commonly found in mandibular second premolar due to its curved roots. Now, what happens is, let's just say that I have this molar, okay, and it has a weirdly curved root. Okay, maybe the root is, let me redraw it. So the root is going something like this. Okay, so I have this root and I have this root. Now, not this. So this is how my roots are placed. Okay, now I have a premolar that wants to erupt. So this is my somehow my premolar. Just, just a second. So let's just say this is my premolar that wants to erupt. Now I want to make a way. I'll just color it in. Okay, so you can see where I want the pathway. So I have this premolar. I want this to erupt from here. Now, if you see that this part of the root, this part of the root, this does not come in the way of my eruption. Okay, so this tooth, my premolar, does not need to resorb this part in order to erupt. So it won't be resolved and it will stay there. Everything else that is lying behind this purple shade, this is in the path of eruption and that will be resolved. But this blue part, it did not need to be resolved because it was not in the way of eruption and it will stay there. What will happen is, after everything, after this tooth has erupted, this part, it will be covered in layers of cellular cementum and it will lie deep in the alveolar bone. So now this tooth has erupted and we have like complete alveolar bone formation over here, and it will keep embedded in the alveolar bone. Okay, now the second clinical consideration we have to take into account, it is the retained deciduous teeth. Okay, so how when some teeth, some milk teeth won't fall off, what happens in that case? So some teeth may be retained beyond their shedding schedule. Why is that? They are generally without a permanent successor, or the successor could be impacted, most commonly seen in lateral incisor. So what's happening is, I have this permanent teeth, okay, I have this deciduous teeth, keep mixing them up, and then I have this permanent, I should have a permanent teeth below this to apply pressure and cause shedding. But in the first scenario, I have no permanent teeth, tooth below this. Due to some genetic fault or some case like abnormality, I don't have any permanent tooth lying beneath this. So there will be no pressure applied and there will be no odontoclast coming in, no resorption will take place, and this tooth will stay in place. Okay, so this will stay retained for a very long time. Now in the second case, what is happening is, I have a permanent tooth below this, but this tooth maybe had some trauma during infancy or during it was an embryo, and it faced some trauma and it got ankylosed in your bone. What this means is, it got bonded to the bone, right? So I have my alveolar bone in here, and this tooth formed some bond with your alveolar bone, and it does not want to erupt. Okay, so it will not apply any pressure and it will not cause any um, it will not undergo any eruption process. Okay, so this tooth will just stay dormant in your bone. So this could be the second scenario in which this case can happen, and it is mostly seen in the upper lateral incisors. Okay, now the third case, which is very important, that is submerged tooth. Okay, submerged deciduous tooth. So in this case I have my jaw, I have this jaw, and my even my deciduous tooth is not erupting. Okay, the deciduous tooth is underneath in here. Why is that? This is due to this should be any trauma may result in damage to either the dental follicle or developing pedicle, which can ankleize the tooth to the bone of the jaw. Submerged deciduous tooth prevent eruption of their permanent successors. Therefore, they must be removed as soon as possible. So I had, let's just say that when a fetus was present, I had this dental follicle. So, okay, I have this. This is my jaw, right? And this is the dental follicle. Now, this dental follicle faced some trauma, and it bonded with the alveolar bone. Okay, it got ankylosed on it, so that is bonding with the alveolar bone. Now any part of the dental follicle may have been affected. It may have been the tooth germ, it may have been the dental sac that forms the PDL. So either the PDL was not formed, okay, so it could not erupt, or something else happened and this dental follicle just did not completely develop and did not erupt. Now, so it lied submerged in the tooth in your alveolar bone. Now, what's the problem in here? That I will have a permanent successor below this, and that is completely normal. That did not face any trauma or anything, so that needs to erupt. But because of this teeth, this submerged tooth, this won't be erupting. Okay, there won't be any mechanism causing its eruption. So a dentist will have to remove this teeth so that eruption of this teeth can take place. Okay, so this is very important to get this removed, and with this we'll conclude our lecture. Okay, if you liked it, please like, share with your friends and subscribe. Thank you.